Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
Okay. Hey,
Uh,
can you hear me?
Super, very muffled.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Take the dick out of your mouth.
All right, yeah. How about now?
Ah, that's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we're talking.
I don't know why you have to switch your mic and audio cord. That's stupid. All right, what's up? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, baby.
All right, sweet. Oh my God. Yeah. So I just found out what the true definition of thermal conductivity is.
Thermal conductivity.
Well, I
Okay,
was trying
so
to explain it to one of my
conductivity
coworkers.
means two materials being heated up, right?
Well, kind of. Well, we were talking about um why do you like why is it that you can touch one piece of metal and not burn yourself and then touch another piece of metal and like you really like it'll burn the fuck out of you even though they're both at the
Wait,
same temperature.
when were we talking about this? I don't remember that.
No, I was talking about it at work because we were on top of
Oh,
the
I see.
rig
Okay.
and you could walk everywhere. You could walk on a rubber belt and you could walk near the railing. And as soon as you walk next to a stainless steel uh, piece of equipment, it burns the fuck out of you. So I was
Hmm.
trying to explain to them the idea of thermal conductivity.
Okay.
So I learned more about it today, and I understand it a little bit more. But
Hmm.
it's the idea that um, the material itself has the ability to transfer more heat into you faster than other materials do.
Hmm.
So like a piece of steel that has like paint and shit on it, it doesn't really have the ability to transfer a lot of heat into you because the molecules aren't as connected. But a piece of stainless steel, those molecules are directly connected and they can like therefore they can transfer a lot of heat to you instantly.
Hmm.
So it's almost like getting electrocuted. It's like if you touch a piece of copper wire, that shit will electrocute the fuck out of you. But if the electricity was running through a piece of lead, it's not really going to do much to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was electric wiring in the old days lead coated, or was it always copper?
I'm not sure what they used to use, but I'm just using that as an example of like the heat conductivity. Heat
Yeah,
conductivity is not really the same thing as electrical conductivity, but
yeah.
one of my you know how I am. I'm fucking retarded. One of my coworkers asked me about it, and I didn't really understand it at the time, so I went on a fucking deep dive. You know? I'm like, I will understand this shit.
Well, it's yeah, it's a good thing, you know.
Yeah, I guess.
Especially
If
if you
you're
could
retarded.
if you could educate the guy who's telling you something, and you're like,
Yeah,
actually,
and that's exactly it. The guy that I'm working with, his name is Dave Brown. He's like a 60-year-old that's he's a mechanic that's been in the gold mines on the river. He's been a tugboat captain. He's been all of these other things. And when he asked me a question, he always asked me it like in a very direct manner. And if you don't know what you're talking about, he writes you off altogether. So
Mm,
when he wrote me off, I was like, no, fuck
that was
that.
it.
I know what I'm talking about. I know what thermal conductivity is.
Yeah,
I will
that was it.
understand this shit. I can't
God,
wait
this
till I
guy's
see him on Monday.
determined. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's understanding these little concepts, you know. It really is valuable information, especially like I don't know. It's like when you're heating up a
Well,
piece of metal.
you know what it is? It's especially like it really sends the point. If that's like, not saying like if it's not your field, it's not important, but it's even more important when it's in your field and you can explain to somebody like the science behind it. Like if you're an electrician, they're like, "Oh, how come every time my lights flicker when my AC comes on?" It's like, well, actually, because there's an abundance of draw being well, like, there's so many volts in your system, and most of their volts get hyper concentrated on this one thing being used. Like it's one of those things where it's like it's pretty fun to explain to somebody when you know your shit.
Yeah.
Which like
Well,
the one thing that I always think about is like I'm a pipe fitter. Like I don't know shit, but when there's something I can explain to somebody, like, oh, how come we can't just do it this way? I'm like, well, actually, this is why we can't do it this way. And they're like, oh, that's really interesting. Just like that makes me feel like, oh shit, like I actually know my shit. You know what I mean? Like that. That's like, ooh, it feels nice.
yeah, and I
You
feel
know?
like it's reciprocated too. Like the other person, they understand that you have like they know that you have an understanding of the subject, so they'll trust you more inherently. Like if you
Right.
told someone right now, "Hey, I know there's a gas leak because I can smell this shit right now, and that's the shit that I work with," they could trust you right off the bat. Versus like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that smells like something in my fridge." You know,
Yeah.
maybe it's I don't really know what it is, but
Yeah. Like, dude, there's been so many times where I go into a basement, it smells like a dank basement. Like, oh, it smells like a gas leak, and I'm like, no, it's not a gas leak. It's just like a dank basement. And like, well, it smells like rotten eggs. I'm like, well, actually, natural gas is odorless. The only reason you smell natural gas is because they add mercaptan in the gas line, and that helps identify a gas leak. And they're like,
like,
really? They
listen,
add shit
motherfucker.
they add shit to smell natural gas. I'm like, yeah, natural gas is odorless, you know,
Do they
or,
really
or, or
add more shit to it?
yeah, yeah, natural gas is odorless, but they add mercaptan to it,
The fuck is
so that
mercaptan?
it's just something that you could easily smell. It smells like rotten eggs. It smells like almost like a sulfur, and they add that in the gas mains from like if we're getting our gas from Tennessee. They add that shit in Tennessee, so by the time it hits Jersey, like
Well,
it's
yeah,
still in the system, you
yeah,
know?
that would make sense because if you added it in New Jersey, you know, all the way from Tennessee to New Jersey, you wouldn't know what the fuck it smells like.
Right. So like wherever the natural gas is like mined from, um, you know. But it's kind of shit like that where it's like it. One thing that I always will always stick with me is like I'm not getting paid for what I do. It's I'm getting paid for what I know how to do. You know, like it's that simple. Like
Yeah.
if you call a plumber and a plumber comes to your house and they're like, "All right, yeah, just had to fix a quick leak. Took 5 minutes. Here's $300." You're like, "Dude, $300? Like that's insane." And I agree, like it's insane. But you're not paying for what he did. You're paying for the fact that this guy's experienced in what he does,
Yeah,
and all
true.
those years of apprenticeship and like everything he had to go through just to learn how to do that. That's what you're paying for, you know. So yeah, it's
I feel like you're
the
just being
trade.
capitalist, you know.
Yeah, I am. I am.
Yo, that guy was so stupid. Honestly, when I sent you that video, I was like, "Oh, this guy sounds pretty smart. He knows what he's talking about." But when he started talking about the military and shit, I was like, "Oh my god, this guy would fucking destroy our country." Holy shit.
Well, the problem with the whole libertarian thing is like, in a way, it's like, yeah, I totally like. I'm kind of down with the libertarian ideology, but like to an extent.
Yeah.
So it's like when you see like these libertarian conventions, and I remember like, man, it was like 5 or 6 years ago. I remember watching one of the conventions, and one of the guys was asked a question, and they're like, "Oh, would you ban heroin for like 10-year-olds?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, of course I'm gonna ban heroin for 10-year-olds. Like, any 10-year-old should be doing heroin." And the whole crowd was like, "Boo," because it's like, like they're so against government intervention, but like to a point where it's like it. Oh man, it's so frustrating this shit because they'll be like, okay, for me personally, for me, if we're just looking through this like in a totally like microscopic lens, if you ask me, hey Brad, do you want your taxes going to a government restricting drugs for your kids? I'm like, no, of course not. Like, it's my job to make sure my kids don't do drugs. But that's such a stupid way of looking at the world or the country because most parents don't have their kids' best interest in mind. And once again, that's totally subjective. But like, if I see a parent like encouraging their kids to be like trans, I'm like, hey, that's not a good thing. But at the same
Yeah.
time, it's like, do you want the government involved in like, the sexuality of kids and shit? Like, probably not. But at the same time, it's like, if they're not involved in it, and it's only the parents, then you're leaving up to a bunch of fucked up people to raise kids, which, as we know, you can't really rely on. So
Yeah.
there's not like one size fits all, and that's the problem with all these libertarian conventions and Christian populists and everything else. Like it's there's not one size fits all. That's the problem,
That's
you
that
know.
when I was listening to that, I was like, Destiny has such a good point in like the liberal, like if you have a very liberal government, they make concessions for all of those things. And like you could have those libertarian policies or those socialist policies or like anything under that umbrella because it affords that. I'm like, that's such a good analysis of the government that we want to achieve. We're not trying to aim for a government that like is restricting trans rights or restricting like gay marriage or anything like that. We're looking towards like local governments to like kind of fix those situations like um if those local governments want to enact those policies and they start to do it on a local level, then it happens and it may fix the federal policy later on. Just like the war on drugs, you know? Like we don't want heroin or fentanyl in our communities, but we think weed is fine, you know? So like a lot of
Yeah,
these local governments start legalizing just weed and you see it on like a macro level and like now the federal government has to look at it like and say okay, we need to modify our policy because obviously the people like think that this thing is okay, you know?
yeah. I mean, like, dude,
It couldn't happen in
I
any other form of government. If you think of like a fiat style or like a communist style government or like
what do you
uh
mean fiat style? What do you mean?
pure like money based.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Fiat style like anything that
Like I
helps
know
maintain
what
the
fiat I know what fiat is, but like are we talking like capitalist? Like what do you mean?
well I'd say it's not quite capitalist. It's like someone that's trying to help keep the currency at a neutral level. Someone that's only doing it for the money, or like to make sure that the money stays the same.
Okay. 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 I
So like
yeah, I see that. Okay.
like in any other form of government, like a communist government or a socialist government or a dictatorship, those things wouldn't happen at all. So like we're kind of seeing it in real time right now.
I mean, like the I'm sorry. The whole like, first off, the whole trend shit, we could just like sweep under the rug and not care about it because that's like 1% of the population. That's like such a culture war topic to the point where it's like, why are we even talking about this? It's such a dumb thing for me. Like even like put any like first off, like everything is dumb for me to put any effort into trying to figure out the best way to do things because I'm not running for like local or state government. You know, I'm not gonna change anything. But why the fuck are we talking about like where trans people use bathrooms? Like we've done this shit for over 200 years perfectly fine. Why are we changing anything for like a 1% minority
Well,
of like
because the conversation got
people that are just like mentally
the
ill?
the
It just doesn't make
conversation
sense.
got manipulated along the way. Like, and I feel like that's the fault of conservatives, in my opinion, that they all got caught up on who can use the bathroom.
Probably conservatives didn't bring it up. So like if liberals are like, hey,
Well,
th- th-
hold on.
th- this
Conservatives,
dude who identifies as a chick wants to use women's bathrooms, and conservatives are like, no, that's fucked up. I wouldn't say that's conservatives'
conservatives
fault.
made it a point of contention. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I guess it depends. If you give me an example, I might disagree or agree. I don't
What
really
like
know. Like,
what kind of example? I mean,
well,
conservatives made the trans dialogue into who can use the bathroom at schools, or like in general, but like
so you
mainly in
don't think
schools.
you don't think like the trans movement started that conversation?
No, I think that was a
You
conservative
think you
a
think
conservative
conservatives
talking
ran
point.
so if a man identifies as a woman and he's just like, hey, I want to be a woman, and he uses the men's bathroom, conservatives came up out of nowhere and they said, hey, what if this fucking guy who's a woman wants to use a women's bathroom? Is that how it started? Or do you think it started with men wanting to use a women's bathroom and starting that? Like, I feel like it's probably trans people starting that conversation,
I
right?
think what
That's pretty
I
that's
think
pretty
you need
easy
to
for
ask
me.
that question again. I mean, that's pretty obviously like a conservative talking point.
I mean, you can say talking point. I don't really like follow conservative talking points. I'm just like speaking.
I would say it's
From,
100% a conservative talking point because like no one really thought about like the bathroom situation, because like you think about it, in Europe they have a neutral bathroom, right?
okay.
In America you don't have a neutral bathroom,
Are
so
we
it's
talking
like
like a single stall bathroom with neutral?
no,
Like
they have a
there's like
clearly
one
labeled
stall.
neutral bathroom.
Yeah, but is it like a single stall, like one toilet, one urinal, or is it like uh
You want to
multiple people can go into a
you
neutral
want to
bathroom?
define a neutral bathroom?
No, I don't want to define anything. I'm just asking a basic question. Like this to me is like I'm laying the groundwork here. Okay, it
So
it it
you're hold on. Your contention is that conservatives did not bring up the talking point about trans rights to the bathroom.
um I honestly don't know the history of the trans bathroom agenda, but if I were to guess, I would say it wasn't an issue until it became an issue, and that's when
Well,
conservatives
who
fought
hold on.
against it.
Who
But like you could laugh,
who
but like
who
who do you
brought
think
it?
started that?
Conservatives, obviously. What
Okay,
are you talking about?
but it's obvious. But can you tell me when that became
Do you
the
want me to give you
talking point of
the date
conservatives?
of their
Yeah,
their
they would be good. Yeah,
okay.
like what are the bathrooms, the trans bathroom, like when that whole argument started? Was it because conservatives just came up with it out of thin air?
Well, hold on,
Or is it,
hold on, hold
or is
on,
it because
hold on.
hold on,
Okay.
I'm asking such a basic question.
Okay,
Do
you're
do,
right.
do you think that a trans woman, okay, a guy who transitioned into a woman, was using women's bathrooms, and conservatives said, "Hey, wait a second," or do you think conservatives came up with it on their own intuition and said, "Hey, this will be a problem in the
Hey,
future.
by the
Let's
way,
stop it now."
by the way, hold on. Before we do any of this, I'm
That's a question.
recording
But
all
okay.
this.
Okay. Cool. That's cool.
I started OBS.
Wait. Are you streaming this, or are you just recording this?
I'm streaming this.
Why are you streaming it?
I don't know. I figured it was easier than recording it.
All right. So I can't use your name, and don't use my name. Then how's that?
Well, that's fine. But I don't
Okay.
care about any of that. I just want to. I just like. I'm recording it just so I can look on it later and see how fucking
Okay.
stupid I'm being. Because I know every conversation that we have, I end up devolving into this fucking monster. So I'm trying to look at that and say, like, how can I be, how can I change to be a little bit better?
Well, I
So
appreciate that,
I'm not trying to I'm
and the
not
same
trying
goes
to
for me.
trap you into anything like that. I'm just saying.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that,
Because I know the last.
I would give you the same respect when I turn into a monster and we start fighting
Well,
and we don't
you
talk for
never
a week.
do. It's always. I feel like it's always me that turns into the fucking
No,
asshole.
no, we
So
just we get too hyped up into it. And listen, I want to say right now, just for the record,
no, because
since
the
you're
last
recording.
hold on, the last conversation we had, I ended up turning you into a Russian shill that fucking hates Ukrainians and shit, And I'm like, hold on,
Oh.
I gotta backpedal a little bit because I know you're not like that at all.
Okay.
And like
Yeah.
it's
Well,
I'm really
I appreciate you saying I'm not like that, because I'm not a Russian shill and I'm not against Ukraine. I just like point out basic things that I may be influenced by certain media, but I really try to not follow certain media that I deem like I don't follow like Infowars and all this
yeah,
other shit
yeah,
that's
I know.
making me say certain things. But if I tell you in this topic, hey, you know what? uh, the trans rights to me are ridiculous, and you say that's a conservative talking point. Well, maybe that a bunch of conservatives are saying the same thing. That doesn't mean that because I'm saying it, it's because of the conservatives saying it.
I know, but you have
Maybe
to
conservatives
understand
are saying
from like
it
my
because
content, like from my point of view, when I hear them have a certain talking point, and then you have like the like a close talking point to that, it makes me
yeah.
think that you've maybe heard the same thing and you're trying to follow the same rhetoric that they have.
Okay. Well, here's the problem that I have with that, and I'll say this as an outlier, like on a macro level. I feel like if I took a bunch of bullet points of liberals and a bunch of bullet points of conservatives, you're gonna fit most of those checkpoints in the liberal category, and I'm gonna fit most of the checkpoints in the conservative category, and that's fine. I like. I don't think that's
Wait, what do you mean
odd.
by that?
Well, like it 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 if I were to sit there and bring up an issue that most liberals agree with,
Can you give
you
a good example?
yeah, the trans bill, like
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, like
So
you're
hold on. What points do you think that would fit into a liberal agenda that you would also fit into a conservative agenda?
well, speaking directly of the trans bill, I don't agree with the fact of um, either trans men or trans women using the bathroom that they identify with as a law. I feel like there's outliers for most things, but if a man wants to identify as a woman and he's passing and everything else, I still don't feel comfortable with that person using a women's
But do
bathroom
you think liberals would
when my
agree with
kids.
you?
Do I think the liberals agree with me? I mean, being that it's a culture war and it's
Well,
such a big topic, probably not. I mean,
well
otherwise it
that
would be like
to your
it'd be
point
like a
to,
niche issue, you know?
to your point, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like what you
Yeah.
were just saying. Like things that you would say that would also fit into a liberal agenda, right? Or like can be misconstrued into a liberal agenda.
Well, okay, so there's a couple things that I would say like wholly as a liberal agenda. If you asked me a pointed question, you said, "Hey, Darb, what do you think is a liberal agenda versus a conservative agenda?" There's a bunch of different. Um, there's like societal, right? There's like, are you socially conservative or are you like culturally conservative, whatever else? Um, if I asked you, hey, are you okay with guns? I know you'd be okay with guns, right? Like you have a gun, you're okay with guns. So you wouldn't fit into that liberal box. That's fine. But
What do you
still
think liberals are anti-gun?
no, I think that if you were being honest and you said who's pro gun or who's anti gun, if you had to pick one or the other, you would put conservatives in pro gun and liberals in anti gun. That's just being honest. Like there might be a lot of liberals who are pro gun, but that doesn't mean that most liberals are pro gun.
I would say most liberals are pro-gun.
I would vehemently disagree with you on that. I don't know.
I would say
Like
actually that
you
I would
don't
say
see a
that
lot of conservatives at like
conservatives are
anti-gun
more
rallies. You,
anti-gun than liberals are.
wait, I'm sorry. I was drinking a beer and I heard you say that conservatives are more anti-gun than liberals, and
I
I
would
know I didn't
say
hear that
that
right. Like,
there are
there's
more
no
conservative
fucking way
people
you just
talking
said
about
that.
more conservatives talking about gun restriction than liberals.
That is probably the craziest thing I've heard you say. But explain.
That might
Like,
be
ha,
that might
like
merit
what
that might
what
be a more
what conservatives are anti-gun? First off, and second off, what percentage of those conservatives even make up even close to more than a minority? That is like
well,
insane.
I'm trying to think of the way to frame it, but like to
Okay.
me conservatives are more like white wasps. Like
Okay.
I know it's
Okay. Okay. Wait.
terrible to
Listen.
say.
I don't want descriptions and like I just want you to tell me what conservatives are anti-gun first off. What is a conservative? Who is a conservative that's anti-gun?
What
Because I don't know
what
any. I'll be
what
honest.
I'm
I
trying
don't
to
know
get
any.
at is conservatives would like to control who has access to firearms more than liberals.
In what respect? Like they don't want blacks to have guns? Like
Yes.
okay,
In respect
eh,
to race relations and in respect to um economic situations, in respect to crime, like felon or like if you've ever had a misdemeanor or anything like that, they would like to have more control over who has access to a firearm than liberals would. Liberals
it,
tend to think that like they have a much more um what's the word for it, um expansive view of the Second Amendment right than conservatives.
I don't know what world you live in. What are you talking about? What what liberals have an expansive view of the Second Amendment? What wait, what liberals are
I
saying?
think maybe we
You,
need to
you,
redefine what like the liberals are in this circumstance.
no, not even. I don't even care about that at this point. I just want to like let's just pin this down.
Yeah.
What? Okay, so liberals have a more expansive view of the Second Amendment than conservatives. Fine. What what is that expansive view that liberals have that conservatives don't? And once again, liberals are like such a vague
I,
term. Conservatives are so vague. We're even
that's what I'm
defining
saying.
the terms.
You really need to like nail down the definition of liberal in this circumstance
Okay, okay. I
and
I'm
what a
going with
conservative is.
I'm going with the definition of liberal, as in if I'm a European coming to the country and I'm like, hey, what's your two-party system? They're like, hey, we have liberals on this side they believe X,
No,
Y, and
that's
Z.
not.
And
No. What? So
okay,
is a tanky the same thing as a liberal?
Europeans wouldn't even know what a tanky is, so like that's no help.
So why the fuck are you asking the European?
Okay, I was trying to make it easy. I was trying to make it easy, but okay. Since you know better than
Fuck
me,
Europeans.
no. Yes, fuck Europeans, America. Okay, so what is your definition of a liberal? If we're gonna define the terms, let's define them. What's your definition of liberal?
God, you're really making me think here.
No, okay. I don't
So
want you to make it. I don't want to make you think. What's the definition of a conservative?
So a conservative is someone that wants small government, that wants less taxation, that wants less representation overall from the government, that wants more more effective state rights.
Okay, so
That
a fiscal conservative. Okay, what's a fiscal
well,
liberal?
hold on,
What's a
fiscal.
Well, that you just explained everything fiscal conservative. So what's a fiscal liberal?
Well, what's fiscal though?
Like like abiding by the law, not by the culture or
Fiscal
society.
relates to money.
Yeah, okay, so by the law.
That's like money that's distributed to you by the government,
Okay.
right?
See, we're gonna get in the weeds really quick.
I'm not trying to get in the weeds. I'm just saying, you know, like when you talk about a fiscal situation is where the government distributes money to you uh on a regular basis, right? That's what fiscal means.
Okay, I'm gonna look up fiscal conservative. Fiscal conservatism is economic conservatism, and it's an economic philosophy regarding fiscal policy, fiscal responsibility. Which, by the way, I hate when you define something with the definition in the definition. I hate that. It's an ideological basis in capitalism, individualism, limited government, and laissez-faire economics. Fiscal conservatives advocate tax cuts, reduced government spending, free markets, deregulation,
Yeah.
privatization, free trade, and minimal government debt. Okay, that's fiscal conservatism. So if I look up fiscal libertarianism,
Oh God,
libertarian,
don't even look up fiscal. Wait, liberalism, not libertarianism.
okay, fiscal liber
No, liberalism, not libertarian.
yeah. No, I looked it up.
God, that
Oh,
like
okay.
fiscal
But
libertarianism, like that.
well,
Just the sound of that disgusts me.
I'm going to say this. Okay, on Wikipedia, there's no such thing. There's only economic liberalism. Economic liberalism is a political economic ideology that supports a market economy based on individualism and private
But
property.
that's because
Eh, Wait,
liberalism.
hold on. I just gotta finish. In the means of production. Okay, go ahead.
Because liberalism is the idea that the government itself can take different forms to adjust to different economic and political circumstances.
Okay, that's fine.
There's no such thing as like fiscal liberalism because it's not that there's no
Okay,
idea that okay.
but I don't want to get in the weeds, like I said before. But there is such thing defined, quote unquote, on Wikipedia, quote unquote, as fiscal conservatism. So I
Because
see.
it's an older idea. Like
Okay.
liberalism is a novel like it's a newer trend that tries to incorporate many different government policies, where conservatism is an old school trend that many different governments can apply.
Okay. So getting back to what we were saying before, and I'm not discounting anything that you said or anything that happened. I feel like that's just like a detour that we didn't have to take. But if you were to sit there and say, "Hey,
Mm.
Second Amendment," who do you think, like, of the two-party system, who do you think is more pro Second Amendment? You're saying that more that
Liberals, yeah,
liberals are more Second Amendment
yeah,
than
100%,
conservatives,
yeah. Because
and
the idea is that more people can have access to more firearms, where conservatives want to restrict the amount of people that have access to firearms.
okay. And my question, once again, is what conservatives are trying to restrict the access, even if I'm accepting your point of they want less minorities having guns. Like, once again, we're talking about legally owning firearms. We're not talking about like hood rats in the hood with like illegal guns with not law
Wait,
abiding citizens.
when does that ever? How does that even compute?
Um, I'll I'll put it to you this way: if I'm a law-abiding citizen and the laws in my state are passed because people who aren't law-abiding citizens and I'm affected by it, those illegal firearms. I feel like it's pretty like it's pretty it's understanding to say that. Like, in other words, in my state, um, I'm only allowed a 10 magazine clip in a handgun. But if there's a bunch of shootings in, urban areas and there's 30 shots within 10 seconds of a handgun and they have a switch with a 30 magazine clip and then more gun laws are passed, I'm not going to support that gun law. So
It's like,
I would
so
be
wait,
I would be
hold on.
identified as a
So
conservative who doesn't
do you think
who
that
doesn't.
liberals support hood shootings?
No, I never
So
claimed that
why
that was
are
like,
you bringing that up as an example?
because you're saying that conservatives are against Second Amendment rights. So
I'm saying that
I'm
liberals
trying to
are
pinpoint
more in
down.
favor of Second Amendment rights than conservatives, and you're bringing up hood hood shootings as an
Well,
example of
they,
what you
they
wouldn't support.
yeah, like well,
Bro.
the reason I bring that up
Yo,
is that, well, hold on.
okay.
The reason I bring that up
It's
is
so bad faith.
it's not bad faith.
It is
If
bad
okay,
faith.
okay,
Why would you
let's
bring it up
l-
in any?
wait,
There's. I
hold
don't
on,
know
hold on.
why you're bringing it
You're
up.
not you're not listening.
Okay.
If if you're saying that conservatives don't support Second Amendment rights, the only thing I can think of is an instance like that where if they pass a law and conservatives say, no, 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 fuck that, like, we're not okay with that. That's the only time, in my mind, that conservatives,
So
as
what about felons?
a weird majority, want to be in support of Second Amendment laws. What about felons?
Yeah.
I well, here's the thing: if you sat there and
See, that
it,
would be a better example for you to bring up than like these hood shootings. If you heard a 30-round clip go off in the middle of the night in the black part of of Jersey.
I mean, it happens. I don't know, like I don't
I
know why
know it
it's like that.
happens, but
Like, it happens a lot, but okay.
you're not making
Um,
your point very well.
if you just ask me a question,
That's a
I
terrible
can answer
way.
it.
Okay.
I can answer it pretty easily. Like, okay, so your question was, what about felons? Um, if you ask me, all right, so am I answering for all conservatives or am I answering for me?
We're
Like, if I self-identify as a conservative, like, I'm just saying, I'm a conservative.
bring it.
And
Hold on.
are
Hold
you
on. Just
asking
all right.
me what all conservatives think or what I think?
Let's bring it back to the original conversation, right?
But wait, well,
That
I want to answer your question because I'm not like ducking your question.
liberals
I just want
have
to clarify.
a more expansive view of the Second Amendment than
Right.
conservatives.
Okay. And explain to me how.
You
You can't just say that without like, okay, what liberals are like pro Second Amendment that are more Second Amendment than conservatives? What congressman in any state, like let's just say Idaho, what Democrat Idaho senator is more pro Second Amendment than an Idaho governor, than an Idaho senator who's Republican? Like, is there any like tit for tat that you could give me, or are you just saying that? Like, I'm not trying to like make you
I can
pinpoint
only
it,
I can
but you're
only
just
tell
you're
you
just saying that
the
like,
people
oh,
that want
liberals
to
are more Second Amendment.
the
Okay,
people that
where,
want
where?
to restrict gun rights right now are conservatives.
Okay, so I'll make some more. I'll ask a more vague question because I just honestly don't know what gun rights are conservatives trying to take away that liberals are trying to protect, in like any state or like any level of
That's something
government.
to look up. You're right. Let's look it up.
But why would you say that if you don't even like you're just saying that?
I'm saying it because as a generality, like liberalism affords more rights to gun owners than conservative policies. I don't know if you want me to like bring up specific examples, but I can tell you Jersey is like Jersey itself is a really good example of how those policies can restrict gun ownership to a point where if you cross state lines with a firearm, you're like risking arrest.
Oh, okay, and who enacted those laws? Do you think it was Chris Christie as a Republican?
Is it what hold on,
Maybe.
was it conservatives or liberals?
Uh, if I were to guess, okay, and I'm just guessing here, honestly. If I was a gun owner and I want my rights protected, uh, to and there's some people, there's different levels. Okay, there are different levels of people who own guns. Some people believe that we can have rocket launchers. Some people believe that it's like within a means.
I'm not saying any of that.
Okay, but I'm just clarifying. If I was a gun owner and I had to choose between red versus blue, I would choose red for protecting gun rights way earlier than I would choose blue. Like it's not
So
even a
so
question.
whose policy was it to restrict gun rights to the point where you can't shoot outside or carry a firearm across state lines in New Jersey? Was it liberals or was it conservatives?
If we're pinpointing one law, I have to look it up, but I could just type in gun laws passed in New Jersey
Yeah, but
and
just
like
just
what
name
what
which
wait, hold on.
person which political faction would it be? Because down here in Louisiana, I could buy a gun from my neighbor, no fucking papers whatsoever. And I'm not saying that's good.
Is Louisiana a red or a blue state? What are you talking about? Like
Is it
Louisiana's a red state. What are you talking about?
what red
Louisiana's a red state. What do you mean?
is that is does that mean it's conservative?
Uh, I'm sorry. Who associates liberal with a red state? Honestly, you have to be the only person in this country who sees a red state and goes, "Yeah, that's real
Would that
liberal."
be a conservative
What
policy
are you
or a
talking
liberal
about?
policy?
If it's a red state, I would more align those policies with a red state. Doesn't mean that every policy is a red
Would that be
policy.
a well hold on, you're whitewashing it now as red
I'm
or
not
blue because
whitewashing anything.
it agrees with you.
I'm
Would
not. What are you talking about? Wait,
would
hold on. Hold on. If you're in Louisiana and you have the ability to walk into a gun store, buy a fully automatic rifle, and just walk out there and open carry it and put it on the back of your fucking of your tailgate, fully loaded, open carry, and it's a red state, that's probably because it's more
so
conservative
you're saying
than
red
liberal.
state because you think it agrees with you.
No, I don't care if it
Yes.
agrees with me or not.
What we're
I'm
talking
telling
about,
you.
well, let me remind you what we're talking about here.
Okay, hold on. If we're talking New Jersey and I'm limited to a 10 magazine clip, and I cannot even load bullets in the magazine, even if it's locked in a compartment like 10 feet away from my gun when I'm driving. And if I get caught with a loaded magazine, that's not
Oh,
even
so
close.
so you're
It's not even
saying
close to
so
my
you're
gun.
saying so you're
Then
saying
that's a
in New
liberal
Jersey that's
policy because
because
that's
of
what it is.
that's because it's liberal policies up there, and down here it's because of conservative policies.
Okay.
Is that what you're
I
trying to
I
get at?
I honestly don't even know what we're talking about.
Because
This
you're
is so
wrong.
this is so wild.
I-
O- Okay.
okay,
What
so
what
you've
what
lost the
what
point. You've lost the point here. Let me
no.
let me
What
refresh you here.
okay. Explain to me what conservative passed the law
So
that
do you
gun
think
laws
that
are
do you
so
think that
strict
it's
in New
because
Jersey.
of liberal or conservative policies in New Jersey that have affected the gun laws so much that you can get arrested for transporting a gun across state lines?
I would say it's liberal policies, but I didn't realize this conversation was strictly about New Jersey. But go ahead.
Okay.
Well,
So it's
go
it's
ahead.
because of it's because
You're
of
gonna prove me wrong,
liberal.
right?
It's
You
because
you have you have the
actually
bull in the
that
chamber
that
to kill
that
me.
makes that makes
Go
more
ahead.
sense. But it's because of liberal policies up north, and and would it be even
Oh,
conservative
so that's because there's
policies?
more liberals up north. That's why, of course.
Actually,
No, no.
I would say,
You have
but
the you have
it's the
hold on. You have the bolt in the chamber. You said I lost the point. I thought I thought that the gun laws in New Jersey are because of liberals, but yet it's conservatives. So now you're gonna show the evidence of how conservatives passed that bill, right? Right? Right?
oh, so now you're gonna run with it.
I'm not gonna
As
run with anything. What are you talking about? You're not even listening to the
what are you doing
conversation.
right now?
Wait, hold on. We
What?
gotta
Hold
pause
on.
it.
What are you?
We
Yeah.
gotta pause the stream
What are
so
you
you can
doing right
rewind
now?
this whole conversation. What are you talking about?
What are you doing right now?
I literally typed in gun laws New Jersey. I told you what I did, and all I'm finding right now is Governor Murphy. Governor Murphy passes sweeping gun safety
Okay.
package,
All right.
sweeping gun
Well,
laws,
hold on.
laws to
Let's
tighten
take
New
it.
Jersey regulations.
Let's
I like
let's take it.
he's a
Let's
liberal,
take it.
so like I
Let's
don't
take
know what
it
we're
down.
talking about.
Let's take it down a notch right now. I would say
Wait,
a hundred
you're the
percent.
one accusing me of running with it, whitewashing. What are you talking about? This is the problem. Is
Because
it
well, you're trying so hard to be
you
right
say
right now that
I don't have
it's
to try to be right. We're talking about New
hold on.
Jersey gun laws and who's more right,
Let's
conservative or
take the
liberal.
emotion out of it, right?
I'm not emotional at all.
Yeah,
But go ahead.
you are pretty emotional.
Okay,
So
you can tell me
let's
all you
go
want,
ahead
but
and
go ahead.
let's take it out of it. I'm gonna say 100% it's because of conservative policies up in New Jersey. That's
Okay.
100% why gun laws are the way they
Can,
are. And
can
I
you
hate to
leave
say
me
it
the
like
proof?
that, but hold on,
Can you leave me the proof?
bro.
I'm taking emotion out of it. I just want to see the facts. That's all.
Take a deep breath right now. Try to explain
Let's see.
this to you.
There was Christie. There was before Christie. There
None of those
was
guys. I
what's his
would
name? With the
say
lottery. Hmm. Okay. I'm gonna type in governors in New Jersey. List of governors in New Jersey. I'm just gonna look for it. Okay. So in our lifetime, we got Corzine. That was his name. Okay, so we have Phil Murphy, who's the Democratic governor right now in New Jersey. Are we just talking about New Jersey, or are we talking about all states? I just want to clarify. Okay, so we have Phil Murphy, who's Democratic. Then we have Chris Christie, who's Republican. Then we have Corzine, Cody, McGreevy, Cody, Bennett, Farmer. So basically, in my lifetime, we've had. Um, Hold on, I have to do the count here. Okay, in my lifetime, there's been Republican, Democrat, Republican, 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 Democrat, 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 Republican, Democrat. Okay, so I feel like it's a pretty even mix. I could like parse it out, but and I'm totally willing to sit there and say, well, when was this restrictive gun law passed? But if I were a betting man, I would say that more gun laws were passed under Democratic governors than Republican governors. And I feel like that's not a crazy thing to say, like at all. I feel like that's a pretty safe thing to say. And you're telling me that that's emotional, like that's an appeal to emotion, and like I'm whitewashing shit. And I'm just trying to figure out what we're even
Bro,
talking
you
about.
are hurting my head so much right now.
Okay.
Why the fuck are you counting Republicans and Democrats? First off, can you have a what are all liberals Democrats and all are all conservatives Republicans? Think about what the fuck you're saying right now.
Yeah, that's a
God
pretty
damn it!
that's a pretty
No, you're
basic thing
so
to say.
fucking
Yeah, of course.
stupid. Oh my god,
Okay.
bro.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I feel like that way, but I feel like uh,
You,
an
bro. I don't even
enormous
fucking.
majority would disagree with you there.
I,
Okay, Josh.
I
Josh,
literally
just
fucking have a headache right now. Like
okay.
I don't know.
What are you talking about? This is so
Bro,
funny to me.
how the fuck are you gonna like? You're like, oh, let's see who's liberal and who's conservative. Let me go look up who's Democrat and Republican. What? How the fuck are you so stupid? Uh, bro, I hate. Oh my god,
Okay, so do you think that Christie
bro, I
is
need a
liberal?
fucking cigarette right now.
Do you think that Christie is liberal
Holy shit!
or conservative?
No, you know what?
Do you think that Phil
So
Murphy's
it's this
liberal
the
or
you know you're
conservative?
right. This is why I record the shit.
I
So I can think about it later on and think
I'm
about
totally
why the fuck I even got into this conversation to begin with.
I'm totally supportive of you recording.
Okay.
And I want you to show me the flaw
No,
in
because
the
you know
logic.
when I fucking listen to this later on, I'm gonna say how fucking stupid I sound. You know. Fuck.
I don't know why you're getting so angry. Listen to me. It's if
Because
we're
you don't
talking,
understand the difference in between. Like you don't know what I'm saying right now.
I I think I agree with
What
you.
what
I
what I
don't
say
think
when
I
I
know
say
what you're saying.
liberal or conservative, you're thinking Democrat or Republican. I don't know why that
That's
has
what like
any.
that's what like 85% of Americans would think if you're saying liberal or conservative. What the fuck are you talking about? If you asked anybody,
Okay,
"Hey,
you're right.
is,
You're
is
right.
liberal red or
I
blue?
have no idea what
Is
I'm talking about
is
then.
is
You're right.
conservative red or blue?" People are like, "Well, it really depends." No, liberal is blue, Democrat, and conservative is red, Republican. Absolutely. What are you talking about? Of
Okay,
course.
you're right. I have no idea what I'm talking about then. I don't know why we're in this
I
conversation.
if you're getting mad about that, then I don't think you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm talking about.
and I'm totally open to the idea of you saying, "Hey, there's this Republican governor who's a liberal," and I'd say, "Hey, man, I'm totally new to this idea. Can you please explain to me?" And you say, "Well, here's why I think that this this red governor is Republican, and this blue governor is also conservative." Like if somebody who's running as a Democrat is conservative, please give me one example. Since I'm such a fucking idiot, I'm so stupid, Josh. I'm so stupid. Just tell me what Democratic governor or senator is conservative in your view, or better yet, what red Republican is liberal in your view, and then I can understand your definitions, and then we can start working with that. But until then, I'm going to go with the majority of belief, which I'm ascribed to, which if you're a Republican, you're probably conservative, and if you're a Democrat, you're probably liberal. I don't think that's like a crazy thing to say at all. I think it's like laughable to think that otherwise, that like, oh, you think liberal means Democrat. Like, yeah, of course. What are you talking about? That's crazy to think otherwise. If you think otherwise and you don't think it's crazy, then just help explain it to me. What are we talking about?
You're right. I have no idea. I don't know why I'm trying to explain it to you.
Okay, so instead of shutting down, why don't you just tell me
I don't have
Republican.
anything to tell you. I like there's no I don't know what to tell you.
Okay,
You're right.
let
I'm wrong.
let okay.
No, you're right. I'm
We
wrong. You know,
okay, cool.
conservative gun
Awesome.
policies
I won the
are
point. I'm happy. I'm happy now that
conservative
I won
gun
the point.
policies are better than liberal gun policies. You're
Okay,
right.
cool. now
Okay.
that I won the point and I won the whole argument and I can pat myself on the back, I'm going to ask you a question, okay? When you say that liberals um, are better for gun rights than conservatives, and I ask you, can you show me? And I don't even fuck all this like Wikipedia bullshit. I'm gonna close it out. I'm gonna close it out. What liberal gun policies have been better for liberals than conservative gun policies for conservatives? Can you help me understand anything? I don't want a time and place. I don't want a date. Just give me like a vague understanding of a gun law that was passed for liberals that conservatives are going against. Or better yet, even easier, I'm gonna throw you a softball. You say conservatives are worse for gun rights. In what way are conservatives restricted of gun rights? So, like you brought up felons, for instance. If conservatives aren't in favor of felons having guns and liberals are, then can you show me where liberals have uh, supported gun rights for felons? Can you show me that?
Well, no. Yes,
Huh? I can't hear you.
I said no. I don't think I can. You're right about conservative policies being better.
Like Josh, I'm trying to like have a good faith conversation, even though you accuse me of being bad faith, and I'm not being an asshole about it. But you're saying conservatives are worse for gun rights than liberals.
No, it's wrong.
How?
No,
How?
they're better for gun rights.
Oh, these dead ends are like the worst thing ever.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my
We shouldn't even
god!
talk about it.
But you're so invested in it, and I just ask how,
Yeah,
and then it just shuts down.
you're right. I can't tell you how. So
Okay.
we'll just
So the conversation's over then. All
yeah.
right, cool. I won. Yay! I won the fight. Yay! I'm gonna put that on my board of all the wins that nobody gives a shit about, myself included. It's not about winning. I just want to know what your idea of a liberal versus
Obviously,
conservative is.
there's more Democrats in New Jersey that have enacted more, you know, more liberal gun policies leading up to that terrible situation that we have today. So it's obviously
Are you doing a
obviously
little
it's
tongue
liberals
in cheek?
that
Are
are
you doing a little
that
tongue
are
in cheek
that are
side swipe comment there? Is that what you're doing? I see
doing
you.
all of that.
I see you. Dude, I'll tell you, man. If only Trump was senator, governor of every state, there wouldn't be any problems. You know what I mean?
It'll come soon enough.
Oh. You need like a 5 minute break, and then we could talk again, or are we done? Are
Yeah,
we done?
yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Your fucking 5 minute break, and then stop being a bitch. All right. Let's have a conversation, please. Jesus.
Yo. Yo.
Yo yo,
Yo.
what's up?
All right. All right. So I'm fully conceding that liberal policies led up to the condition that has arisen in New Jersey.
Yeah, we don't get stuck on New Jersey. We could just talk about the country as a whole. But
You're right. I was enveloped in the idea that conservatives were the enemy.
yeah, I honestly don't. I just don't see like I'll be the first to point out like conservatives doing wrong or liberals doing wrong. I have no problem. Like I'm not defending anybody or anything. But if we're talking like wholly as a macro level, liberals versus conservatives, who's better for gun laws? I would say like it's without question that conservatives would be uh more lenient with gun laws than liberals. And my understanding of liberals and conservatives, we might be working with different definitions, but
Yes,
I would say that my definition of conservative, uh, I would associate conservatives with Republicans, and I would associate liberals with Democrats.
I wouldn't agree to that, but I would agree that historically conservatives have a more open idea of gun laws. I would not agree that conservatives are Republicans, especially when you consider like the circumstances of today. That's what makes me think that the conservatives of 2024 are definitely not the conservatives of 1980 or
Yeah, and like I'm not gonna agree or disagree. I'm just saying that I don't follow that. So you know I don't want you to think I'm being bad faith about it because I don't think I am. I'm not trying to be. Um, but if we talk about conservatives in 1980 versus conservatives now, yeah, there's like a big difference. Uh, because conservatives in 1980 maybe wouldn't be okay with somebody like Trump. Uh, But to that point, uh, liberals in 1980 maybe wouldn't be okay with Biden. But if we're talking,
I don't know about that.
okay, so like once again, I'm totally open to being my mind. Like my mind is wide open. I have an open door, and I'm just telling you what I think. Maybe it's influence, maybe it's bias, and I'm totally okay with that. And I'm totally okay with admitting that. But what is the difference? Uh, do tell. What is the difference of conservatism in 1980 versus conservatism now when it comes to gun laws?
I would see the Conservative Party a lot more like racially restricting gun laws and restricting the rights of gun owners to exert their rights.
Okay, fair enough. Now, being that my mind is open to being changed, what is the difference of conservatives from 1980 with gun laws not restricting to, like, say, minorities versus now? So, like, now, what are conservatives doing to restrict gun ownership or Second Amendment as a whole to minorities or any other, you know, what might be perceived as lower class citizens now versus 1980? I honestly don't know the difference. Like I don't see anything changed from now to 1980. Is there anything that you can like allude to or like kind of like walk me in the same direction to understanding that?
No, I'm trying to put my finger on what exactly changed in the Conservative Party from then until now. I honestly I don't quite I don't quite understand. Like
But you understand you're saying this. You're saying that liberals are more forgiving for gun rights than conservatives. And I'm
but
asking you, like, just
it's all about
get get give me
who's
give me.
flying under that label. Like it's the 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 terms have changed so much in the last 20 years that it's hard to put your finger on like
Okay, but like
who
George,
represents that faction, who
dude,
represents
like it,
those ideas.
Josh, you like we're speaking in circles. George H.W. Bush, not George Bush, but George Bush Sr. Would you consider him a liberal or a conservative? If you had to pick, if I had a gun to your head and I was like,
Wait,
hey,
H
it is
wait, George H.W. Bush?
yes,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know much about him. That's I hate to say it, but I haven't really
but
done a
look,
deep dive on him.
we're speaking in such vague terms. I like
I know.
you're the one. You are the one making the claim that liberals are more aligned with the Second Amendment than conservatives, right? Could we agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, having said that, at what point in history are liberals more aligned with Second Amendment than conservatives? Just like
You can't look at it historically because the terms have changed.
Okay, so we're at the point where we're just saying things with no basis of reality.
No, no, I'm saying we have to redefine the the actors.
No, we don't have to redefine anything. You're saying your claim is that liberals are more aligned with the Second Amendment than conservatives. And
Yes.
I'm like, that's crazy. Most conservatives, in my mind, are more aligned with the Second Amendment than liberals.
What
Well,
what
if
what
your
do what
claim,
hold on, hold on. Let's just go back to this. What
okay,
do conservatives want today?
uh, you want me to define what conservatism is?
No, I'm talking about what, like, the you can't look at it historically because
I'm not.
like,
This is not historic. None of this was ever historically. Your claim was that liberals have done more for supporting gun rights than conservatives, and I said,
no, I'm saying
"Well, how?"
no, I was
And you
saying
said, "Well, it's like just
I was
like
pointing out that liberals today have a more broad application of the Second Amendment rights than conservatives do today. I tried to bring up historically New Jersey as an example, but I realized after we had that break that I was wrong about that. 100% wrong. It was probably
okay,
liberal ideas that brought about the gun restrictions that happened in New Jersey. But when I think about the Conservative Party today, I don't think that they encompass the same Second Amendment rights that they did previously. And I feel like liberals today, or whoever is flying under that liberal flag, encompasses more of that Second Amendment ideals than the conservatives do. I just feel like the Conservative Party has had a dramatic shift, and it's hard to put my finger on it, but it's
like even if Josh, even if I grant you that historically liberals were more pro Second Amendment, and like I think that's what you're saying. I'm not. I want to speak for you, but historically, if liberals were more pro Second Amendment
no,
than
you can't.
conservative,
No, not at all. Historically, it doesn't make sense at all. Liberals
okay,
were always against Second Amendment rights and shit.
okay, okay. What? I'm sorry. This is like
I'm
so
saying
insane.
liberals of today.
Okay,
You can't go historically because historically all of these attitudes have
okay,
changed.
okay, okay. So we're talking about today, right now. Congressmen, congresswomen of today. Would you consider Lauren Boebert a liberal? Would you consider her a liberal?
Lauren Boebert?
Yeah. Would you say she's a liberal or a conservative?
Hold on. Yeah, conservative.
Okay. So Lauren Boebert, Boebert, whatever you want to say, she's conservative. What about Marjorie Taylor Greene? Is she liberal or conservative?
Oh, 1 second. why is this hard to find their policies? Holy shit! It's all like it's all news. I just want to see their policies.
I mean, it's a pretty easy guess to say she's conservative, right?
I just want to see her policies first before I say anything.
You're lying to yourself here. You know what she is. She's a conservative, right? Okay.
I
What
I need
what
I
about?
need hold on. I need to see her
Oh
policies
my
first
God,
before I.
Jesus Christ!
What do you mean? Okay, whatever.
It's obvious
All right. Yeah,
that
you're right.
what when you say liberal and conservative, like I'm trying to like paint the light for you. Okay. What about Rashida Tlaib? Rashida Tlaib. Is she conservative or liberal?
She's ultra liberal.
Okay. What about Ilhan Omar? Is she conservative
Um,
or liberal?
yeah, liberal.
Okay. Do you think that Chuck Schumer is liberal or conservative?
Yeah, liberal.
Okay. So you see that the puzzle pieces are kind of like fitting together. If I said, "Hey, I want all the brown people out of this country," that's probably a conservative ideal versus a
Mm.
liberal ideal, right? Maybe not all conservatives feel that way, but if you had to pick one of the two boxes, that's probably conservative and liberal, right? If I said, "Hey, I want all poor people to have a safety net," that's probably liberal versus conservative, right? Like this is like pretty like you know this is like softball questions shit, right? So if I said, "Hey, is Donald Trump liberal or conservative?" You would immediately you don't have to look it up. You'd be like, "He's conservative."
No. What?
Yeah, yeah, dude, shut the fuck up. Absolutely, you know, it's like, bro. Now you're lying. Now you're lying. Talk about bad faith. If
I would say
if I
he's
said
anti-American. He's not even like liberal or conservative. He doesn't have any policies that.
okay, yeah, that's awesome. But if I said Donald Trump is either liberal or
No,
conservative,
no, he's not even
what bo-
conservative.
what box did you put him in, Josh? Who knows?
He
Oh,
wouldn't. He would.
oh,
He would
who would
not,
guess? Get the fuck out of here! Come on,
bro.
stop.
He would not be conservative.
Okay, if Joshua Scheffler had to put him in a box
He would
and say
not. He would not be either. How is he conservative?
I never claimed that he's conservative, but
You're
I'm
telling me you're trying to force
but
me into one box or another. I'm telling you, he would not be in either box.
I'm trying to drive the point that most politicians are either liberal or conservative.
They're not. Oh my God, they're not.
There's really not a gray zone
Okay.
for these politicians. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. If you're like, "Oh, Chuck Schumer's, he believes this, but he's not really like liberal." It's like, dude, but most people would say that Chuck Schumer's liberal,
Okay.
Ilhan
All
Omar's
right.
liberal,
So let's
Lauren
go.
Boebert's
Let's go back over this.
conservative. Like, come
When I
on,
say that
come on.
when I say that Lauren Boebert is conservative, you think that I
Yeah.
actually mean that she's really conservative?
No, I don't really give a shit what her policies are.
Okay,
But
so do you think
if you said
you think
she's
when I
conservative, I'm like,
say
yeah,
when I
yeah,
say that
probably.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is actually conservative? You think that I mean she's actually conservative?
Whether her policies align with
Hold on. Answer that. Answer that.
I,
Answer that question.
I am answering. You're
Do you
cutting me
do
off.
you do you think that I mean?
Can I answer it?
Do you think that I actually mean that she's really conservative?
If you said Marjorie Taylor Greene is conservative, I would say, yeah, probably. Whether or not her policies align with conservatism don't really mean shit.
Okay, so I
It
should have
just
used a
means that
fucking different
she
word for all of them.
she's gonna vote
You're
for
right. I
what
should
she aligns her
my
interest
my
in
mistake. I
as
should have used a fucking
conservatism.
different word for all of them.
Okay, if that's
Because
what the
that's
debate
not
is, then I'm sorry, it's
okay.
semantics then at that
Yeah,
point.
it is semantics because they're not Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene are not conservative. If you want me
I'll
to
put
come
the
up with a fucking word for them,
dude.
I will. But they're not.
Listen,
They're not a like when I say that they're conservative, that's because they're not liberal or they're not.
okay,
They're not
okay.
this thing.
I'm gonna tell you where I'm coming from, so we have an understanding, and I feel like you're
Bro,
on
I
the
feel like
same boat.
I feel like
Hold
I'm
on,
so stupid for falling
you,
into that shit.
what?
Fuck.
I don't know. You're saying falling into anything, but okay.
Okay.
Um, so if you said, "Hey, Marjorie Taylor Greene is totally in favor of migrants getting deported," and Trump is totally in favor of migrants having total immunity and staying in this country, I would say yes, they're both conservative as opposed to liberal. Like 100%. They could have totally opposing views when it comes to conservatism as a definition, but if you had to pick a box, red versus blue, liberal versus conservative, it's so easy to put them in the same box. Like to me, it's a no-brainer. I don't have to agree with them. I don't have to, support them, but I could easily say, yeah, of course. Like if Chris Christie as a Republican is passing gun laws that's similar to a Democrat passing restrictive gun laws, then I'm gonna put him in the liberal category. But generally speaking, if you said, "Hey, uh, who's better for gun laws, liberals or conservatives?" Like, yeah, of course, conservatives are better for gun laws. Like, that's the problem is that you're getting so caught up in like, oh well, what is this specific policy? No, it's not a specific policy. It's Marjorie Marjorie Taylor Greene could be the most liberal person in the world. She could be like pro trans, uh, you know, pro fucking home like pro um like Section 8, whatever. Like all these quote unquote democratic liberal policies, but she says, I want to be able to shoot my guns whenever I want. Well, then she might be conservative. Like it's not one size fits all. But if you had to pick one or the other, it's kind of easy sometimes to pick one or the other. So liberal and conservative to me, liberal means left, aka blue, and conservative means red, aka right. I'm generally a conservative person, but do I agree with Trump? Do I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene? Do I agree with Lone Barbert? No, of course not. Like, there's so many times where I'm like, they're fucking stupid. I want nothing to do with X, Y, and Z. But we can't sit there and say, oh, well, liberals are so much better for gun policies. And I say, well, how? And you're like, oh, here we go. It's like, no, like you're making the claim that the gun policies are better under liberals. Well, tell me what liberals have passed in support of gun laws that conservatives have gone against. like I'm super curious to find out one law, just one law that liberals, aka Democrats, have tried to push that conservatives, aka Republicans, were against. It's like that to me is such a stretch. So I don't feel like you're basing your thoughts on reality.
You're right.
So
Yeah.
I say, hey man, this is crazy, and then you accuse me of being bad faith, which is like insane. Why would you accuse me of being bad faith when I'm like, how? You know, I'm not
Because
making a
it's
claim.
so reductionist.
Okay, if it's reductionist, tell me the macro level of how that that fits. Once again, it's like you could say I'm whitewashing it. You could say I'm like downplaying it or whatever you're saying. But once again, I'm not making the claim. I'm not saying like, oh, liberals are so much better for like imagine. Okay, just imagine I said, man, and like honestly, just like just listen to it. If I said conservatives are better for immigration than liberals, you'd be like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Of course, liberals are better for immigration than conservatives. And I'm like, well, show me proof.
Why do you think I
You,
would disagree with you?
I don't think that, but I would disagree. I would disagree with myself saying that. If I said conservatives were better for immigration than Democrats, there's a bunch of different ways.
Why do you think I'm why do you think I'm saying that you have a reductionist view of?
Because you literally just said I have a reductionist view. You literally just said it. What are you talking about? Oh my fucking god. Bro, you literally just
You
said I have a
think
reductionist view. You were the one that said I have a reductionist view.
you think
So of course
that's
I'm gonna
why
accuse you
you
of that.
think you
Like,
think
what do
I
you
have
mean?
you think I have you think that I think that you have a reductionist view because I said it?
Um, if I think
Why would I say that I might have the opinion that conservatives have a better view on immigration?
do you think
why would I say that?
okay, Josh, I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you think that in terms of immigration, conservatives have a right or liberals have a right? Do you think?
I think that all of this shit is stupid because the
No,
reason
you're not answering the question. I'm asking you a very easy question. Liberals or
why I
conservatives,
disagree
who has it
with
right?
political
Who has it
labels.
right?
Why do you think?
Oh,
Why do you?
oh, you can't say it. So if I say it,
Shut the fuck
is
up. Why do you
okay?
think that I looked
I
at
go
their
ahead.
fucking policies before I said whether or not they were liberal or conservative? Because I don't agree with a politician like 100% voting one way or the other way because they are liberal or conservative. I expect them to vote as a fucking representative of the United States government or like of the
And
people
you're wrong.
themselves.
And you're
So,
wrong. And you're wrong.
bro,
And you
you
can't trust any of them. It's that simple.
bro,
You can't
you
trust
were
them.
no, no,
You
because you
can't trust
that's
conservatives.
why I
You can't
say
trust
that
liberals. You can't trust Republicans. You can't trust Democrats.
you have
They're
such
all
a
liars.
reductionist view
That's the problem.
of
Is that
all
you're
of this
taking them at
shit.
their word.
No, because you don't have the capacity to understand that these
You're right.
people could vote one way or the other way. You just think that
Hmm.
they're either like liberal or conservative or
Right.
Democrat or Republican. There's
You
so
got me.
much other shit that happens inside our government. Like I don't know why the fuck you think like that.
So I don't have the okay. So let me get this straight. Just you're recording this, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have the capacity to understand what our politicians are saying. I don't have the capacity to understand the difference of liberals or conservatives. I don't have the capacity to understand the difference of Democrats or Republicans. But somehow, some way, the people that you vote for that say something could change their vote either way. So I don't have the capacity of understanding how somebody's going to vote based on how they affiliate with other people, but yet somehow you understand it. So please explain to me, once again, back to the beginning, what liberal policies have been pro gun versus conservatives who are anti gun? You can't answer that. So if I said you don't have the capacity to it, that's a pretty asshole thing to say, right? If I said you don't have the capacity to give me one example, it's insane how it's okay for me to say it, right? If it's okay for you to say it, then I can say it too, right? You don't have the capacity of saying what liberals have had a conservative ideology, even though they're not red versus blue or any of this stupid shit that you don't agree with. But if I tell you Lone Berber's gonna vote red no matter what, that's pretty that's pretty basic. Marjorie Taylor Greene is gonna vote red no matter what. She's gonna vote Trump no matter what. If Trump said he wants to outlaw guns, Marjorie Taylor Greene's gonna vote for him. Is that conservatism? Absolutely not. That's the problem. But I don't have the capacity to say it. You're right.
I mean, what are we talking about here?
You fucking tell me, dude. You're telling me that I don't. You're telling me that I don't have the capacity to understand something, even though every point that you brought up, every time that you've said anything, I said, okay, give me a vague example. Give me any understanding of even liberal and conservative. Just give me an understanding of how that's different from Republican to Democrat. You can't do it, but I don't have the capacity to understand it. I like I obviously I'm on the bottom of the totem pole. I don't I can't teach you anything. You know, you got to teach me everything because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
I think you're right. I am an asshole.
No, you say shit like holier than thou, and you want to sit there and tell me I'm wrong? Fine. Like, dude, I have no problem being wrong. I have zero problem being wrong. But if I'm wrong and you're accusing me of being wrong, just give me anything. Tell me I'm wrong. Otherwise, you sit there. If you go back to this recording, since you're recording the whole thing, you could find that you've accused me of being bad faith, whitewashing everything, downplaying everything, and just like avoiding points. Like, why? There's no reason for it. First off, at the end of the day, what makes me like laugh the most is I'm not changing anything, and neither are you. We're not changing shit. We're just talking as brothers. And for you to sit there and ride high for this one party or this one ideology is insane to me. If you ask me, hey, what do you think about Trump doing this? I'd say he's an asshole. What do you think about the conservatives doing this? I say they're assholes for this. What do you think about Republicans doing this? I say they're assholes. I don't I don't ride for anybody, but I feel like you're riding defense for the other side. And that's what's crazy to me. Like why?
How am I
There's no
running
reason for
defense
it.
for the other side?
For the simple fact that this whole basis of the conversation, if you rewind to the very beginning, you say, "Oh, liberals are more like, uh, in favor for gun laws than
And I feel
conservatives,"
like that's
and
still
and I
that's
say like,
still true
"Well,
right
wait,
now.
why?
That's
Okay,
still
you,
true. Like
yeah, and
liberals today are
that's
more
the
in
fucking
favor
problem."
of like
Yeah, Josh,
more in favor of the Second
don't you
Amendment
understand? Don't you
than
understand the fact
conservatives are
the fact that
right now.
you could sit there and say something with a firm belief and have no basis of reality. You're like you're always talking about epistemology and everything else, and you can't give me one vague example of why liberals are more pro-gun than Democrats or than conservatives. If you sit there and said, "Hey, you know what? I think guns are dangerous and nobody should have guns. We should outlaw guns." At least you have like a backbone in your ideology. Instead, you sit there and say, "Well, liberals have
If I
more gun
ask
laws than
if I
conservatives."
ask
Well, how?
myself
How?
if I ask
Like nothing?
myself like as someone that just got their visa, right? Someone that just got their visa,
Wait,
should they be allowed to
okay.
have a gun? I would say that liberals should say yes, and conservatives would say no. That's like where my epistemology is right now, and I
Okay,
feel
but
like when you bring up
where
hold
was
on
that 2 hours
hold on
ago? Where was that 2
when you
hours ago?
say
Like,
when
what are
we
you
start
talking
talking
about?
about historical examples, I've already conceded that I can't give you historical examples, and the only thing that I can come up with right now is that the parties have changed, and like we can both agree that the Conservative Party of 1980 is not the same as the Conservative Party of 2024. The Liberal Party of 1980 is not the same thing as the Liberal Party of 2024. And yeah, am I riding high on like one and on
There's no
like
liberal
one?
party. There's no conservative party. That's the problem. Is that I'm asking you, what is the difference of liberals in 1980 versus conservatives in
We
1980?
have to come
You
up
can't
with
even fucking say anything.
completely different. Like that's why I'm saying you. It's so
You
hard. It's so hard to try to come to this agreement that like our understanding of politics has changed. It's it's
Absolutely.
it's
Listen,
not
that is one thing we could totally agree on is that you and I are on totally different spectrums of policy. At the end of the day, I feel like when it comes to moral issues, you and I could both come to terms with what's right and what's wrong. I'm not I never judge you. I never sit there and say like if somebody's liberal or Democrat, I don't judge them differently, and I would hope that you give me the same respect. The problem is that when you sit there and say, "Oh, conservatives in 1980 aren't the same as conservatives now," and I'm like, "Okay, perfect. What makes you think that way? What like what is your basis of reality for thinking that way?" And you're like, "I
because
can't give you a reason,"
the
and
things
I'm like, "Okay, so
the things that conservatives justified in like
the, the
1980 is completely different than the things that they justify today. In fact, I don't even think that they can justify anything today. They're supporting a
Josh,
candidate that
politics as a whole has changed since 1980. What are you talking about? Bill Clinton left office because of that scandal in
and
what, the
that
1990s?
didn't change conservatives. Conservatives still had the same belief.
Yeah, we had the Tea Party in like 2004,
That
2005,
was
whatever it
that
was, and
they
like,
weren't even
dude,
conservatives.
everything
That
gets
wasn't part of
worse
the
and
conservative
worse.
party. That was
Absolutely.
something completely the Tea Party was something completely different.
Bro, if you were to
They
sit there and say the Tea Party was liberal or conservative, Tea
they
Party was
weren't I
conservative.
how
Like,
would you
just
pin them
shut
down as
up
either?
about it. It's absolutely
They were
conservative,
not conservative at all.
and those same Tea Party
And
people
that's
wouldn't be
oh my
supporting
god.
Trump, but yet years roll by, and those same people that
You're
were
right.
involved
I
involved in the Tea
misspoke when
Party
I
are
said you
voting
don't
for
have the
Trump.
capacity to understand my what I meant was that I don't have the capacity to explain it to you. That was my misspeak. I don't know how to put this into words that like these conservative like these political identities are completely uh estranged
Bro,
from
you know what? I'll tell you right now. I'm gonna stop you right now. You could say that all you want, and I really wish I believed you, but it's so insane to me how you could say that and you say I don't want to be labeled, I don't want to be like put in a box, whatever else. But like you and I are both fitting into those boxes of opposing ideologies, where it's just like at this point you could be in the box. You don't have to agree with it. It's that simple. You could sit there and say, "Oh well, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a liberal. I don't like labels." It's like, yeah, but you agree with most of the policies from this. You agree with most of the policies like from that. It's it. I'm sorry.
What are you
You and
talking
I
about? You and I
are
would agree on most of every fucking policy. What are you talking about?
yeah. No
You and I would
shit.
be fucking
And
different.
okay, so why are we fighting? Explain it
How
to me,
when did I ever say that you were part of a different ideology?
Josh. Let's be honest, okay?
Let's be
If
honest about what? I never said that you were fucking part of a different ideology. I'm trying to give rational explanation to like these changes in the political ideology. I've never called you part of that, like part of any ideology. I know that me and you would, whatever. If that's the way I came off, okay, I get it. But that's not the way I meant to come off. When I said you didn't have the capacity to understand, I didn't mean it like that, and I hope you understand that.
I do understand.
I'm not
It's
trying to
fine.
say that you're not
Listen, I'm
smart
getting
enough to understand what I'm fucking saying. It's that it's hard for me to get you to grasp the like what I'm saying. And like I'm not
because
trying to put you down for anything, but I don't think that you're part of a different ideology at all. I'm just trying to give a rational identity to each of these things, and I can't do it because historically they're different.
because there's no because
Even
there's no
today they're
rational
different.
identity. If you sit there, okay, I'm gonna give you an understanding of my worldview. If you sit there and say liberal, what my ears process is Democrat. When you sit there and say
Why?
conservative, what my ears process is conservative. And I will tell you
Why
this,
though? Like I
and I will tell
don't.
you, Josh, I will tell you this. If you polled 100% of Americans, 85% would tell you the same thing. You are totally out of your
And
element
I know
and
that you're
living in a different
100% right.
world.
But for me,
And you're in a
it's
different
hard for
world.
me to
Bro,
fucking
what?
grasp that. Like,
Okay. You know what? Listen, let's do a fucking test. Give me one Republican liberal. Give me one conservative Democrat. Can you fucking name one? No. You know why? Because there's no such thing.
hold
So
on.
stop with the bullshit.
No,
Stop.
no.
It's fucking bullshit.
You gotta
It's
understand that
fucking bullshit.
there are
No,
Democrat.
stop.
No,
Stop. Stop.
hold on. You're gonna make me mad
There's
here.
there's
Hold on.
one Republic
You're really
there's
gonna
one
make me mad
Republican
because
governor there's one Republican
how do
governor in
you
Alaska
how do you think
who loves prostitution. Who gives a shit?
how do
It
you
doesn't
think
matter.
no.
What are you
Hold on.
talking about?
How do you think that anything gets passed in our government? Is because we have Democrats that are both liberal and conservative. We have Republicans that are both liberal and conservative. Those identities exist in both of them. So like that's exactly why I get mad at you when you look at the history of New Jersey governors and you're like, "Oh, well that one was liberal, so he must be a Democrat," or "Oh, that one was conservative, so he must be a Republican." That's what makes me so mad.
No,
Is because
no.
hold on, listen to
I,
me.
I, I
Listen to
looked
me.
up New Jersey. Oh,
Hold
hold on.
no,
I'm gonna
listen to me
no,
here.
I'm gonna be totally fair. I'm being totally fair. I looked up New Jersey governors. I said, "This is Democrat. This is a Republican." That's all I need to know. I don't give a shit about their policies. If somebody's running as a Republican in New Jersey, they're conservative. If somebody's running as a Democrat,
That's
they're not
bullshit. No,
conservative. Yes, of course.
you
Like
have
I'm
to,
agreeing with you.
no, you
It's
have
easy.
to understand that they are both, there's both Democrat, conservative and liberals,
No,
and
there's not.
Republican, liberal
No,
and
there's not.
conservatives.
Name
Brad,
me one. Name me one.
how do you
Name me.
think, how do you think
Name
that
me
any
one.
bipartisan legislation gets passed?
Okay.
Because
That's the stupidest
there
shit
is
I've ever heard in my
there is
life.
a multitude of different representatives that all have different policies.
Bro,
Dude,
you are living you're living on Mars. Listen,
I
listen.
I bro,
Th-
I don't know how you
there's
can't accept that.
conservatives who could agree with liberals. That's the dumbest thing ever to say that that's not happening. Democrats and liberals are the same thing. Republicans and conservatives are
Bro,
the same thing.
you're now
That doesn't mean
you
that
are
doesn't mean
objectively
hold on.
wrong.
That doesn't mean that conservatives and liberals can agree on
No,
something.
you're
Being
objectively
bipartisan.
wrong
Oh,
about that.
that's the own. There it is. Like, come on, dude.
You're
Stop.
objectively wrong about that.
Okay, objectively prove it.
Do you want me to find you a Republican liberal then?
Yes, find me one
Okay,
Republican liberal.
I'll do it right now. Which do you want it in the House or the Senate or the
I honestly
Congress?
don't care. I honestly at this point it's like it's so funny to me like you think that liberal could mean some vague term like if you sit there and said, "Oh, liberals versus conservatives," and you don't see blue versus red, is insane to me. I don't think that you'll ever convince me otherwise. It's
Okay.
so insane. It's like honestly like dumb at that point. Okay,
I think I think
dude,
I've said enough tonight.
I might be a
I'm not
dummy.
gonna.
I might be a dummy. Yeah,
I think, bro, you have to understand.
yeah. Prove it to me. Show me the liberal who's a Republican.
You're right. It is actually pretty hard. Mm.
Mm. You know, I'll do you one better. I'm gonna look up Democrat conservatives. Okay,
I'm sure you'll find a lot more of them than you will.
conservative Democrat.
Did you find any?
2000 to present, during the 2006 midterm elections, the Democratic Party ran moderates and even a few conservative Democrats for at-risk Republican seats. The Blue Dog Democrats, as you might have heard before, the Blue Dog Democrats gained 9 seats during the election. The New Democrats
Oh
had
my
support from
god.
27 of the 40. It's almost like conservatives aren't democratic and Democrats aren't conservative, or Republicans are liberal and liberals aren't.
Okay, you're right.
Listen,
I don't think you're right at all. By the way, I'm just
that's
fucking
fine.
bullshitting
That's
because
fine.
you know what? To get any bipartisan legislation passed,
Okay, okay.
you need to be
Let's
able to espouse the other side, like espouse ideas
bro,
that you
bro.
believe in from the other side.
That is that is the dumbest
Okay,
shit I've ever heard.
you're right. Okay.
Because there's bipartisanship.
So if you're a
There.
Republican, you're
Wait,
solidly
hold on.
one thing. If
Hold
you're
on.
a Democrat, you're solidly another thing. That's the
No,
dumbest shit I've ever heard.
I never claimed that at all.
That's exactly what you're claiming right now.
No, I'm not. What are you
Yes.
talking about? I've never said that conservatives are hardline one thing
Okay.
and liberals are hardline one thing. I've
Okay.
never
So
said that.
they could be a little bit of the other thing.
Listen. I'll do you one better. You have this whole thing recorded. Rewind this tape and find me the one point where I said conservatives are hardline this and liberals are hardline that.
Isn't that
bipartisan.
what you just you didn't you just say find me the one Republican that's liberal?
Yeah, I said find me the one Republican that's liberal. Yeah,
Isn't that
of course.
isn't that saying that?
But are you saying that a Republican can't agree with some liberal ideology? Would that make him a liberal because he agrees with one thing that's liberal? What about a liberal who agrees with one thing that's conservative? Does that make him a
I
conservative?
don't even know we're talking about it.
Yeah,
Oh
dude,
my
you're
God, you're right.
talk about bad faith.
You're right. I'm
God
bad
damn it,
faith. You're right.
absolutely. If you take a liberal who's liberal through and through, and they agree on one thing that could be construed as a conservative ideology, and that liberal votes on it, does that make him a conservative by proxy, or is that
So
bipartisan?
we put any games tonight or what?
No, dude. Fucking games are over, man. We fought for 2 hours. I'm over it.
Okay.
I'm over it. We should play games to begin with. I updated Valorant for nothing. God damn it. Oh fuck. You gotta stop calling me bad faith. I get angry. I don't like it. I don't like it. But I love you, and I'm always gonna love you. And we gotta stop this shit. No more politics. I feel like that's like the rule going forward is just no more politics. I'm not gonna change your mind. You're not gonna change my mind. And that's all there is to it. Sucks, but it is what it is.
All right.
Love you, Joshy. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Bye.